Like many others, I was a bit nervous during the build-up to this election. It can always be a time of stress for a lot of people, especially when there's not really much you can do except wait and hope that your candidate comes out on top. And while I felt this way at the start of the counting, I quickly realized that I didn't really need to be worried, and it seemed a little bit more one-sided than I initially thought. And in the end, the best man won. Jokes aside, I can happily say that I'm satisfied with how the election turned out, and I don't think I'm the only one, considering not only did Trump win the Electoral College, he won the popular vote, which hasn't happened for a Republican candidate since like 2004, I think, and two, he's Trump. I mean, I know he has a lot of supporters and people who really like him. I'm one of them. But the way the media likes to portray him and the way that people just like to make things up about him, I'm actually kind of surprised that he did actually win the popular vote. But I don't really want to talk about Trump's win in this video. This video is going to be more about the Democrats and just the like strange and frankly embarrassing campaign that they ran, as well as the person who was placed at the forefront of that campaign, Kamala Harris. Because let's be honest, she was placed there. She wasn't elected by anybody. She was just put there on her pedestal for some reason. Once the average voter and the entire DNC as a whole realized that there was no way that they could possibly convince the nation that Joe Biden was fit to run for president, and the only thing keeping him alive was copious amounts of ice cream, they had to put someone in to fill his space. And who better to do that than Kamala Harris? Anyone. Anyone would have been better than Kamala Harris. And as baffling a decision as this was, Republican voters were pretty outraged when this first came out. And I can only imagine how certain Democrats felt when they realized that they didn't even have a say in who they were going to be represented by. It was just a choice that was made for them. I can imagine that a lot of people were justifiably outraged by that. As a matter of fact, a little-known YouTuber known as Shoe on Head actually went into this a little bit in a video that, by the time of recording this, has already reached about 2.4 million views. So I don't think that I'm the only one who feels this way, and I know for a fact that there are a lot of specifically Democrats who are just very angry right now. And I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't seen more people talking about this video, since it's one of the rare cases where an individual will speak out against their party. A lot of people seem to be allergic to the idea of speaking out against their own political party. They seem to see any sort of like criticism as an act of betrayal, and will treat you as the opposition and just shun you and push you away from the group. And you'll be forced to apologize for trying to move away from the status quo. Shoe's video is a great example of criticizing your own party when you feel that they're not meeting your expectations. And I think that this should be more widely accepted. Now, I don't want to go over the whole video because I'm lazy, and I really think you should just go watch it for yourself, and I really think you're gonna get something out of it, because I sure did. And make sure you don't skip the ad. If you know, you know. I would, however, like to go over one clip from the video that I found to be very enlightening. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a shoe on a head.
You idiots. You morons. You imbeciles. Kamala Harris? Really? That's who you threw up there? The one who dropped out before Iowa? The one who got blown the f*** out by Tulsi Gabbard?
She immediately digs into the most glaring aspect of Kamala Harris's campaign, Kamala Harris herself. For those of you who don't remember, Kamala Harris actually ran for president back in 2020, but dropped out, citing a lack of funding being the main issue. But I'm pretty sure we all know that wasn't it.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Yeah, we all know the real reason.
Why didn't you hold a primary? Aren't you the f***ing saviors of democracy? Where the f*** was the democracy?
She then points out that one of the most widely used talking points used by the Democrats for this last election was that they were the party of democracy, and that Trump was essentially going to be a dictator if he got back into office. The world was never gonna be the same after another Trump presidency, even though he's already been president once, and nothing happened. But this time, believe us, this time it's gonna be different. But after Joe's horrendous performance during his debate with Donald Trump, the entire Democrat Party panicked. And as Shu put quite fittingly, threw Kamala Harris up onto the stage. He was already the Democrats' presidential nominee, and Kamala Harris just took that spot from him. So why not hold another primary, as pushing Kamala Harris into that position is not only a kick in the face to the Democrat voters, but it's not democratic. You can't claim to be the party of democracy and just so blatantly not care about democracy. And I think a lot of voters saw that the Democrats didn't really care about democracy as much as they claimed, and I think that affected the way they voted.
Oh, big congratulations to Tim Walz on being the first white male DEI hire. It didn't f***ing work. The DNC completely neutered that f***ing guy, reduced him to this weird token white man. Hello, fellow men, I too play football. But hey, men weren't the only demographic you completely dropped the ball with. Trump made incredible gains with women, too.
I can't lie, referring to Tim Walz as a white male DEI hire is just so hilarious. It's really strange that once the Democrats realized that they were just completely alienating an entire group, that being white men, they did a complete 180, and just seemingly overnight they were just like, no, you guys are great, you're actually amazing, but also if you don't vote for us, then you suck and you're not going to be able to get sex with women, so that's why you should vote for us. Just trying to put Tim Walz as the pinnacle of masculinity. It's so baffling to me. Speaking of Tim, take a look at what he thinks about the election results.
We were pledging to be inclusive. We were pledging to bring people in. Donald Trump has said that that isn't what he wants. And so if that's what America's leaning towards, I guess for me, it's to understand and learn more about America.
Tim, I really think you should try and learn more about America and what the people actually want, because your campaign just wasn't it.
You raised $1 billion and ended up $20 million in debt? Where the hell did all that money go? Maybe you should have blown it all on celebrity appearances that did nothing. Or maybe it was spending 6 figures on a single-use set for the Call Her Daddy podcast that didn't even hit 1 million views. I want to see a full audit of this campaign, because I wouldn't be surprised if this was all a big money laundering scheme, because honestly, that makes more sense than this being a legitimate presidential campaign. Then, they had the audacity to beg their supporters for money after she lost. How about you? How about every DNC consultant should have this map sewn onto the inside of their eyelids? May they never have a peaceful wink of sleep for the rest of their miserable lives.
I don't even know what to say about this. It's just so crazy. I guess it just goes to show how irresponsible they are with money. Running a campaign can be extremely expensive, especially when your primary tactic is throwing money at celebrities to try to get them to endorse you. Because that's what we want. We want celebrities to tell us who we should vote for. Especially considering they're probably the most out-of-touch people among us. Can we just be done with celebrities talking to us about politics and telling us how we should vote? I'm really getting sick of this. I don't think I've ever cringed as hard as I did when I saw the entire Avengers cast get together on their little phone call and try and give their reasons for what they believe in and why we should vote for who they believe in rather than for who you believe in. I do really agree with Shu here. I think that there should 100% be an audit done on this campaign, because something just does not add up. There's no way you can raise over $1 billion and then by the end of your campaign, she didn't even run a full campaign. She came in halfway, and then she's somehow 20 million in the hole. How do you spend that much money Are those really the people that we want running the country? The people who just spend money as if it's nothing? And I know that people like to make fun of Trump because he's gone bankrupt a few times, but you guys literally lost over $1 billion for nothing. You didn't even win. So what was the point in all of that? And not only that, but now you're asking to be subsidized by the people that you failed. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I can sympathize with Shu and a lot of Democrat voters, because if my party did something like this, like if Trump had, like, it came out that Trump spent just like an egregious amount of money, and by the end of the campaign he was in debt and asking us for support, I would be just as outraged as some of you guys are, and I'd definitely be seeking answers for the entire thing, all the way back to the primary that was not held for Kamala Harris's case, all the way to where did all that money go. And there is a clip of Barack Obama giving his account and telling us what we ought to believe about what happened with the election.
When I mentioned to a few friends that our foundation would be hosting a forum on democracy and pluralism, I got more than a few groans and eye rolls, especially since, as far as they were concerned, the election proved that democracy is pretty far down on people's priority list. There are going to be times, potentially, when one side tries to stack the deck and lock in a permanent grip on power.
Democracy is low on people's priority list, Obama? Barack, what do you think an election is? Why do you think that we vote for candidates that are elected to that position? Do you think that if we didn't care about democracy, we would even bother voting for candidates to put into positions? Coming from the people who didn't even hold a vote to decide who should be their candidate kind of just makes me angry. Like, you could have avoided this if you just gave people what they wanted. If you put somebody, you know, a group of people, I don't know, and let people vote for them. Maybe like in a democracy, like democratically, maybe, Obama. I do genuinely hope that they learn from this and that things are different in 2028, because I'm getting tired of just the nonsense, basically. I would love to see an election where I could see myself voting for either candidate. I would actually really like to see that. And yeah, I would vote Democrat. I'm a registered Republican, but if a Democrat got up on stage and I liked their policies and they weren't, you know, pushing some sort of weird ideology that I just don't disagree with, fundamentally, then yeah, I would vote for them, because they, at that point, if the Republican candidate wasn't up to my standards, then that candidate would be the person that I would want to represent me. I am right-leaning, but I've always considered myself to be more centrist in a lot of my views. I don't like to say that I am one side or the other. I mainly have just been kind of more so pushed to the right by a lot of people who say that, you know, the things that I think and the things that I agree with make me some sort of Nazi. And, you know, I am a Christian, but I don't think that that necessarily means that I have to vote Republican. The party is not what I'm paying attention to. What I'm paying attention to is the person. And if the person is, you know, genuine and they have good policies that are good for people, then that is the person that I want to vote for. But maybe it's too late for this sort of thing to happen. Maybe the Democrats are too far gone. Maybe they'll never be able to recover from this. I certainly hope not. I would not, you know, think that that would be a good thing, but I guess we'll just have to see. I guess the whole reason I wanted to make this video was because I'm sure that there are plenty of things that, say, Shu and I would disagree on, but I do think that we can both agree that the Democrat Party really dropped the ball for this election cycle. And I think we both would want to see them do better. And this, goes for everybody. I think that there's plenty of people who would hear the things that I believe and the things that I say and probably pretty vehemently disagree with everything that I believe. But I don't think that that doesn't mean we can't engage in conversation together and exchange ideas. You really start to wonder, with the way things are all attempts at trying to find a common ground between the right and the left just completely doomed? Or can we at some point find a way to come together and share ideas? Because that was what everything was all about. That's the whole point of freedom of speech. If people aren't allowed to say what they want or what they believe, then how does anybody grow? How does anybody learn? How does anybody see that point of view and say, oh, I definitely disagree with that, or oh, there is some merit to that, there is something to that I think is actually very valuable. At the end of the day, the people voted for what they wanted for, and personally I'm glad that things went the way they did. And for those of you who would call me a Nazi or a fascist or whatever it is that people are saying nowadays, just because I'm white and I voted for Trump, you're not calling me anything I haven't been called before. Okay, it's not, you throwing that at me literally does absolutely nothing. It really only makes you look bad. But I genuinely wish that you could attempt to have a conversation with me, because that, that's what I want. At the end of the day, I want conversations, and I want to talk to people who don't think the same as me. I think that's important. And I genuinely wish you the best. I hope that, everything goes well for you. I know that there's a lot of people freaking out that Trump is going to abolish gay people, whatever that means. But I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think that anything like that is going to happen. I think, if anything, the next 4 years are hopefully going to be very prosperous for a lot of people. But that's all I got for this one. I hope you enjoyed my video. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do these, the best way to have everything set up. I have this going now, which I think is good for the time being. I moved my all my stuff a little while ago because I didn't like the way it was. But let me know what you think. I'm eager to hear from people who maybe don't agree with what I said. But I'll be reading and responding to any comments that you guys leave. And I'll link Shoe on Head's video in the comments, or in the description rather, down below. And I really think you guys should check that out. I got a lot from it. But anyway, this has been Man to Man, and I'll see you next time. I wanted to leave this at the end of the video because I kind of wanted to explain myself a little bit. I believe it's been about 6 or 7 months since I uploaded my last video. And I just want to talk. I want to give a little life update. I believe I said in one of my previous videos that my wife was pregnant, or I was about to have a baby, or one thing or another. That happened. Well, my wife gave birth at the tail end of October. So that has been very exciting. We have a beautiful baby girl. She's healthy. She's happy. She's making a lot of noise. You might have heard her a couple times. I got her back there behind me. Yeah, so that's kind of one of the big reasons why I have been away and not consistent at all for as long as I have been. It's a completely new experience for me and my wife, and we couldn't be happier. She's such a joy, and such a wonderful addition. I don't know if you can hear her behind me. She's making little noises. But I also do want to say that I probably won't be sharing any photos or posting anything with her in it, just for the sake of just privacy and the fact that there are a lot of strange individuals on the internet. That's kind of why I've been gone for so long. But I'm hoping I'm hoping to be back more regularly. I also have other things that I would like to do that don't necessarily correlate to anything that is related to this channel. I still don't really know what I want to do with this channel. Because I started it and I wanted it to be like, oh, well, you know, I'm supporting men, blah, 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 man to man. But I kind of want to branch out. I kind of want to branch out and talk about other things too. Things that are sort of related to this. They might be on this channel. Other things that are completely unrelated. I'm thinking about making another channel and having those be sort of less intricate productions kind of thing. It's so cute. But yeah, so I'm hoping to be back more steadily now that things have kind of calmed down. I'm back to work. And you know, with the new year, I would like to start the new year off strong. By the way, Merry Christmas to those that I missed. Happy New Year to you as well. But anyway, I'm dragging this out for far too long. Like I said earlier, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'll see you next time.